The model that they've all used is beg for forgiveness. You don't ask for permission, you wait until you get caught, and then you say, how does $1 billion sound? And then suddenly the publishing companies are like, oh yeah, okay, that's fine. Good morning, everybody. It's fireworks evening in the UK, and we're going to be covering the latest AI news and updates. We've got a few pretty cool pieces of news. We're going to be talking about Sora, which is finally coming to Android. It's only been iOS up until now. We're going to be talking about how Apple are going to be teaming up with Google for the next version of Siri. I'm also going to be showing you some Claude code free credits. Make sure you use them because you've only got 2 weeks or so to redeem them. And then also Kim Kardashian failed the bar exam and is blaming on ChatGPT. And Amazon are suing or threatening to sue Perplexity over bot scraping. So we have a few things going on today in the world of artificial intelligence. So first of all, Sora, was it 3 or 4 weeks ago, Sora arrived and it was only on iOS. There were ways to work around it. You could use the web version, so you could go onto a browser like Chrome and use Sora, but it was a bit fiddly. As of yesterday though, OpenAI has launched Sora app on Android. OpenAI has brought its AI video app Sora to Android. The app, which lets you create, share and remix AI generated videos, is now available on the Google Play Store in US, Canada, Japan, Korea, Taiwan, Thailand and Vietnam, according to an announcement on Tuesday. So if you are in the EU, if you are in the UK, if you are anywhere else in the world, tough. It's still not available, unfortunately. So this is part of their staggered rollout because they need to make sure the servers can deal with this amount of pressure. So Android has been released mainly for Canada, the US and select number of Asian countries as well. So great news if you are in those places. If you still want to use it, you can. I have written a guide on aiwithkyle.com. Scroll down to the bottom and you should see in resources something called Sora Code Guide. Head over there, that's going to show you how you can get in. If you have an Android phone or you're outside of the US, Canada and those other countries, you're going to use the browser version instead. Use sora.chatgpt.com/explore. You're going to go in there and use an invite code. I've given you 3 or 4 different ways to find an invite code. If you are in the US, Canada, Taiwan or Japan, you do not need an invite code. It's very frustrating if you're a user and you just want to use Sora. Who can use it where, and whether you need an invite code or not depends. But if you are in the US, Canada and you have an iOS phone or now an Android phone, you are now free to use it. You do not need an invite code as of right now, but they have said this is a temporary measure. If you're thinking about it, go and grab an account right now before they reintroduce invite codes. If you go to that guide, that should help you work out how you can personally get access. And I will update it today based on this new Android release. Make sure you get in before they put the doors back up. Remember though, that if you are on a non-paid plan, if you're not on $100 a month, then, sorry, $200 a month, how much is the top? I should know this, I get it for free, but if you're on the $20 a month, you can generate, I believe, 30 generations per day. If you're on the $100 or $200 a month ChatGPT plan, you can do 100 generations per day, and you can pay for additional credits as well. It's all a bit of a mess, but this is to be expected with these kind of rollouts. Let's move on to Apple. So Apple, if you've been watching any of these lives, you know that I'm disappointed. I'm not the only one. Disappointed in Apple's response to artificial intelligence. Everything they're doing is on a very delayed timeline. And they've done things like they've released the ability to do simultaneous translation in the new AirPods. It's a bit rubbish, but it is AI focused apparently. So far, they have just been dropping the ball. They might be building something and they're going to come out of the gate and demolish everyone else because they have distribution via their telephones and billions of telephones out there. But increasingly, I'm worried that they don't have any cards up their sleeves. We've just got some new news. Apple plans to use a custom model of Google's Gemini AI to power Siri. There was a discussion about whether Apple would be using Anthropic, Claude, which arguably is the best model at the moment. I think it's fantastic. They are not. They're using Google Gemini, which is still a good model. I wouldn't personally choose to use it compared to OpenAI or Anthropic. Claude, we're going to get Gemini 3 pretty soon, which might be really good. So Apple is turning to Google to make a custom Gemini AI model to power the next version of its virtual assistant Siri for spring 2026, according to a report from Bloomberg on Sunday. Apple was evaluating whether to use Google or AI competitor Anthropic. Interestingly, OpenAI just wasn't discussed. For the next version of Siri, Google offered a better financial deal. An earlier Bloomberg report says Anthropic would have cost Anthropic $1.5 billion per year. Apple have a huge amount of cash, so I'm uncertain why they're going with the cheaper option here. They need a really good AI, and they need to come into the market with something that's going to blow people's socks off. Taking the budget option is a strange decision, but I'm sure there are a number of different factors at play here. There was discussions of whether they should just buy Anthropic, because again, Apple is a very cash-rich company. They have a lot of cash reserves. But it looks like instead they are renting. They're not buying. They're renting a Google model, and they're going to be paying somewhere under $1.5 billion per year. The custom Gemini model will run on Apple's private cloud compute services. Apple's own models will continue to run on devices, they're not very good, for personal data, while Gemini would operate on servers for more complex tasks. We have something similar right now with Siri, where, there's no onboard AI, but you can talk to Siri for basic tasks, like can you set an egg timer, and it gets it right some of the time. But then you can also ask it to talk to ChatGPT for more complex tasks, and it will relay your request to ChatGPT. It's an awkward arrangement, but it works. It looks like this will be more embedded, and Siri will finally become a large language model based artificial intelligence, because Siri's been around for over 10 years, and it is AI, but it's an earlier form of artificial intelligence. It's not generative AI, it's not a large language model, it's based on NLP, natural language processing. So they're finally, after 10, 13 years, updating it to a proper AI model with the help of Google. Tell me what you think about this news. I think it's disappointing that they're just buying in a new model, and they're not even buying in the best model. They're buying in a pretty good model, but they are apparently doing it for cost-cutting reasons. It just reinforces that I don't think Apple are taking AI seriously enough. Maybe they know something that we do not, and they'll be coming out with something mind-blowing a year or two from now. But I'm just a bit worried for them, because I do love Apple. Just checking for questions. And we're going to talk about Claude Code. No questions. If you use Claude, this is something that you should not miss out on. They are giving free credits for Claude Code Web. And even if you don't know what Claude Code Web is, this is worth checking out, because this is the perfect time to jump in. They sent out an email yesterday saying to celebrate the launch of Claude Code Web, we are giving you free credits. If you are on the $200 a month plan, they've given us $1,000 worth of credits. Or if you're on the $20 a month plan, they've given you $250 worth of free credits, which again, pretty substantial. You only have until November 18th to use them all. Personally, I'm going to be spending the next 13 days in Claude Code trying to use all of those credits. I've used $15 worth last night, so I've still got 99% of my free credits left. I have a lot of work to do. Perfect. This is absolutely the right time to check it out. If you go into Claude.ai on your browser or your telephone, you're going to see a new tab on the left-hand side, a new navigation menu item which says Code. Open it up and you will see a screen which is basically a chat interface, but it allows you to chat directly with Claude Code. Claude Code is their coding model and coding tool which allows you to build with code. If you have used something like Lovable, the Claude Code web interface is relatively similar. It's basically chat. There are a few more complicated features that you need to wrap your head around before you start using it. The main one is you need to hook it up to a GitHub repo. If you have never coded before, if you have never written any code or used a tool like this, that will immediately be a barrier. Like, what the hell is a GitHub repo? Basically, and this is oversimplifying, a GitHub repo is a cloud storage where you're going to be keeping all of your files. Go to github.com, set up an account, it's totally free, and then create a repo, a folder called test or project name. Give it a name for your project. Then you come back to Claude Code, you give it access to your GitHub repo, and then you select that repo. All we're doing before we have to use Claude Code is connecting it to that cloud storage so that we can work from a project folder. That's it. That's the only technical thing you need to do. And then after that, it is basically chatting. If you have used Lovable, if you've used Bolt, if you've used Replete, great. It's exactly the same. You're just going to talk and you're going to go back and forward with the coding assistant. If you have never used a vibe coding tool, that's also fine because it's very similar to ChatGPT, But instead of just giving you answers, it's going to go ahead and create the files. It's going to create code for you, create the project structure, and do everything for you. I've written a couple of newsletters recently, which have basically been how to get into this stuff. So let me have a look. The last 2 or 3 Saturday issues have all been about vibe coding. If you go to newsletter.aiwithkyle.com and look for the ones called Saturday sessions, they have guides about how to get into vibe coding. This is a really good opportunity because if you already have a paid Claude subscription, you now have all of these credits for free. If you have a $20 subscription with Claude, you have $250 worth of Claude code web. So you might as well use them. If you have a $200 subscription, you have $1,000 worth of credits. And again, you have until the 18th to try them out and to use up these credits. Definitely jump on this. What I might do, I'll do this. On Saturday, I will write an issue about how to use Claude Code. If you are interested in this and still have no idea what I'm talking about, and this seems like a lot of work and something that you're scared of, check out the Saturday issue. So it'd be, I can't work that out. So the 8th of November, 2025, I will write an issue about how to use Claude Code and how to make sure you get the best usage of these free credits. So go and check that out on Saturday. If you need to subscribe to the newsletter, there is a link which is on my bio, which will allow you to get there, or head to, I've lost it already, newsletter.aiwithkyle.com, or just aiwithkyle.com, and then at the top is a button which takes you to the newsletter page. I will write you a guide showing you how to get started with this stuff because it's free money. You might as well. Really, this is a great time to get into it. Kent Clark says, what if I'm on Perplexity for accessing Claude Code? I don't think you'll get it. This will only be for people who are paying Claude directly. So Perplexity gives you access to the model. I think it gives you Opus if you're on the Pro plan. But this is for people who are subscribers to Anthropic only. So you need to be paying directly to Anthropic. So if you have a Claude account, this is for you guys. Okay, let's jump over to something a bit more silly. Kim Kardashian. Oh God, this page is horrendous and it's covered with adverts, which is very relevant because I'm about to talk about people.com. Kim Kardashian has been trying to pass the bar exam for the last decade, I want to say. She's failed it quite a few times. This time she's failed it again, but she's blamed it on ChatGPT, which I think is really interesting. And this is a trending news article. And unfortunately, it's about ChatGPT. And a lot of people who don't use AI or ChatGPT, this is going to be their introduction to it. So Kim Kardashian said she used ChatGPT to study for a law exam and blames the generative AI engine for failing. She uses it as a friend for dating advice, for lots of things, but she also uses it for legal advice and has failed the California bar exam once again. Again, she's failed it many times, but this time she's blamed it on ChatGPT because ChatGPT gave her incorrect advice. We must remember that ChatGPT and all generative AIs, they will hallucinate, and if you do not prompt them in a certain way, they will try to please you. It sounds like that's what it was doing with her. It was saying to Kim Kardashian that this is just teaching you to trust your own instincts, so you knew the answer all along. It was basically gassing her up, which unfortunately, when you're trying to prepare for an exam, you don't need. If you are wrong, you need to be told that you are wrong so that you can get better. The only way to get better at something is to fail, to recognize your mistakes and to do it better. But ChatGPT was just telling her, yeah, you're great, you're doing really well. I do wonder what model she was using, because ChatGPT or GPT 4.0 was infamous for this, for always telling you that you were great and you were right, which made it particularly terrible for things like studying. Whereas GPT-5 is a bit more strict and it will call you out. This is also why I really like Claude, because Claude will 100% tell you that you're full of nonsense. You can see in its chain of thought sometimes, oh, the user thinks this. That's not really the case, so I'm going to help to correct them. Whereas GPT-4 would just tell you that you're great and fantastic. I wonder if she was using that. Unfortunately, this is the popular coverage of GPT and ChatGPT is from things like Kim Kardashian, for better or worse. Speaking of People Inc., which is the website I was just on reading about Kim Kardashian, it is a complete mess. It's full of adverts and it's hard to use. Interestingly, People Inc. is forging an AI licensing deal with Microsoft as Google traffic drops. So we've talked about this before. People are no longer clicking to go through to websites. We are entering a phase of something called zero click. People will go to Google and they will see an AI overview and they don't necessarily need to click to the website. And that information is being pulled from the website. A lot of publishers, a lot of websites are seeing their traffic just crashing, and they relied on getting people to their website so that they could serve up adverts. I was just on the people.com website talking about the Kim Kardashian story, and it was covered in websites. That is despite my ad block, that is despite various different protections I have. They've worked their way around it and they're showing me adverts, and it's very annoying. People don't like that. People don't like to be hammered with adverts. So if they can get the information that they need directly from Google, from an AI overview, they're not going to click on to the website. At the same time, people are getting information from ChatGPT. They're getting it from various different AIs directly. They're not even going to Google. What this means for publishers and websites like people.com and online newspapers is that their traffic is going down. And their traffic is what led to money. Their revenue source was eyeballs on adverts, and that is crashing. So People Inc., which is one of the largest media publishers in the US, has signed an AI licensing deal with Microsoft. They made the announcement yesterday, as part of the parent company IAC's third quarter earnings. Under the deal, People Inc. will become a launch partner in Microsoft's publisher content marketplace. Ooh. This is the company's second AI deal following its agreement with OpenAI last year. So that means People has agreements with OpenAI for ChatGPT and with Microsoft for this content marketplace. So here we go. The marketplace is essentially a pay-per-use market where AI players directly can compensate publishers for use of their content on an a la carte basis. This is the CEO quoting. So this seems to be a way for creators and publishers to get paid for feeding information into artificial intelligence. That seems like an exciting opportunity, but we have to remember that this is the kind of deal reserved for the big players. So people.com and its parents company is a massive publishing company. What happens, and we've seen this again and again, is when the publishers, when the content creators find out that OpenAI or Google or any of the AI companies are using their data, they will sue the AI company. There will be a settlement, and then the AI company will decide, okay, we're going to pay you such an amount for your data moving forward. So the model that they've all used is beg for forgiveness. You don't ask for permission, you wait until you get caught, and then you say, how does $1 billion sound? And then suddenly the publishing companies are like, oh yeah, okay, that's fine. This has happened again and again. We're seeing it with New York Times, Disney, all of these companies basically threatening to sue, and then the AI companies saying, okay, whoops, sorry, here's a few $1 billion. This is great for those corporations. This does not mean that individual artists and individual creators are going to get compensated for their work. I see a lot of people saying, this is fantastic. Thankfully, the AI companies are being held to task, and our artists and our creatives and our illustrators are finally going to get paid properly. This is corporations suing corporations. This does not mean that a freelance illustrator or comic book artist whose work has been pulled into a model is going to be seeing a single dime of this. We need to be careful here. This is still corporations, not individuals getting paid out fairly for their work. The CEO praised Microsoft for being committed to paying for content to support its AI efforts, adding that Microsoft Copilot will be the first buyer for the marketplace. It's a very strong endorsement for us to be in the room with them, and a very strong endorsement of the publishing marketplace and the value of content to make AI that is of high value. So yeah, we're going to see more and more of these deals, and this is where a lot of cash is going. This and legal fees to fight these companies and to come to these deals. But again, it is not necessarily going to make its way down to the individuals who create content. This is corporations paying corporations so that they don't get sued. This is not out of the kindness of their own hearts. Checking the question. Oh, Amazon and Perplexity agents. Yes, I actually had, let's pull this up. I have that news article too, so let's cover that. So somebody said, same with Amazon and Perplexity agents. We have another legal battle going on. Thank you for holy moly for pointing this out, because this is related. So Amazon has sent legal threats to Perplexity over agentic browsing. Perplexity has a agentic browser called Comet, which can go off around the internet and check out prices. It can buy things. It can work for you in the background. It's similar to, in fact, I should flip this around, but similar to OpenAI's Atlas browser, which also has an agentic component, but Comet actually came out before. Amazon is threatening to sue Perplexity. Amazon has told Perplexity to get its agentic browser out of its online store. The company's confirmed publicly on Tuesday. After warning Perplexity multiple times that Comet, its AI-powered shopping assistant, was violating Amazon's terms of services by not identifying itself as an agent, the e-commerce giant sent the AI search engine startup a sternly worded cease and desist letter. Perplexity wrote in a blog post titled "Bullying is not innovation." I'll add this blog post into the newsletter as well. So they think that they're getting bullied. If you are sending your bots onto a website and it's against terms of service and you are not marking them as agents, they're allowed to tell you to stop. So this week, Perplexity received an aggressive legal threat from Amazon demanding that we prohibit Comet users from using their AI assistant on Amazon. This is Amazon's first legal salvo against an AI company, and it is a threat to all internet users. Interestingly, Amazon just signed a deal with OpenAI yesterday with ChatGPT. So OpenAI are competitors with Perplexity. OpenAI have their own agentic browser called Atlas, which came out last week, 2 weeks ago, and which is a direct competitor to Comet. And Amazon and OpenAI just signed a huge deal. I think it was $60 billion yesterday, the same day that Amazon send their legal staff after Perplexity for agentic use. I'm not saying it's connected, but the timing is very coincidental. Perplexity's argument is that since its agent is acting on behalf of a human user's direction, the agent automatically has the same permissions as the human user. The implication is that it doesn't have to identify itself as an agent. So they are pretending to be a human visitor, basically. For years, decades, we've had something called robots.txt, which sits on the back of most websites. In fact, let's see if I can pull it up on TechCrunch. I'm on TechCrunch right now. Let's see if we can see their robots.txt. There we go. So I'm now looking at the TechCrunch robots.txt, and it says what's allowed to come to the website. So I can see things like user agent Anthropic AI, disallow. User agent ChatGPT, disallow. Claude bot, disallow. Cohere AI, Facebook bot, GPT bot. Oh, I'm not seeing Perplexity, interestingly. So a lot of websites have now set up disallows, which means that when these bots come to look at this website, they'll see the robot.txt and be like, oh, I'm not allowed to be here. And then they'll stop crawling, they'll stop interacting with the website. We've had this for years because of web scraping and crawling, sending out automated pieces of software to look at websites. For example, let's say I was making a price comparison website and I wanted to get the prices of various competitors. I could build a piece of software, a script, which can go to all of those websites once a day and pull the latest prices. That allows me to then create a price comparison tool and potentially even to undercut websites. So that is something that is disallowed. For example, I once set up a tool which went and scraped Rightmove and Zoopla, which are big real estate companies or real estate listing websites. Totally not allowed to do that. So you have to find ways around it, and grey area in terms of legality. This has always been the case that we weren't allowed to send spiders and crawling bots to certain websites. That has now been updated with AI agents. If you're on YouTube, you can see on TechCrunch all of the different agents that are not allowed on the website. This is a new battlefront. Should the agents be allowed free reign of the internet, or does that threaten the website owners? Because these agents can come and work out prices and then help my business undercut other people's businesses. For example, I can use agents for strategic advantage against existing businesses. So the existing businesses probably want to block agents. So Amazon are blocking Perplexity, at least, not blocking Atlas. Let's see. Let's actually pull up Amazon's robots.txt and see what it says. I have never seen such a long disallow list. Here we go. GPT bot, Perplexity bot is on the disallow list. Mariner, Google Agent Shopping, they've blocked Google Shopping from Amazon. Byte Spider, Scrapey, these are scrapers, Pangu bot, Copilot, etc. Interesting. ChatGPT is not disallowed from Amazon. Yep, ChatGPT is not there. So Claude, Cohere, Perplexity, Copilot, Gemini, Devin, I haven't heard that name for a while, are all blocked, but ChatGPT is not blocked from Amazon. So this does feel like Amazon are teaming up with ChatGPT, especially after the $60 billion deal. This is quite big news. Amazon's response points out that other third-party agents working at the behest of human users do identify themselves. Okay, so Perplexity are trying to be sneaky here. They're pretending to be a human user instead of the bot saying, hey, I'm a bot. I'm here to gather information. If Amazon is to be believed, you could simply identify its agent and start shopping. I don't think that's the case because I can see on their robots that Perplexity are blocked. So Amazon is saying that if you declare yourself, we'll allow you. But no, I don't think that's true because I can see they're not allowed. Of course, the risk is that Amazon, which has its own shopping bot called Rufus, could also block Comet or any other third-party agentic shopping from its site. But they're not blocking ChatGPT. Very important. Anyway, so we're going to see a lot more like this moving forward with traditional website owners, traditional platforms, having to work out how on earth they are going to deal with agents. An agent could be coming to do competitive research, to pull data and then to undercut Amazon, or it could be there to transact and to buy stuff for its user, which is something that surely Amazon would want. This is going to be a give and take while we work out how we want to change the internet to allow for non-human users. It's going to be a very interesting ride because it's Amazon, the largest e-commerce site on earth. This is a big deal. I look forward to covering this over the next few weeks, especially how it connects to ChatGPT. Very cool. Thank you, Holy Moly, for reminding me about that. I just did my first AI workshop at a charity. Cool. What percentage of charities give testimonials? All of them, if you ask. Just keep asking. What I do when I do a charity workshop, I will do it for free, pro bono, and I'll say to them, look, normally I charge $1,000 per hour. I'm not going to do that because you're a charity. However, what I would ask is for a review, a testimonial, and a photo. Just make that clear up front when you go in, and that becomes part of the transaction. I'm coming to do it for free, but I would like this in return. Is that fair? And if you set that up front, then 100% generally. So just go back and ask, and just keep asking until you get a testimonial, basically. Next will be masking agents, right? Yeah, so we'll have to hide agentic usage, most likely, in the same way that we hide bot usage. If I'm sending a bot or a crawler off to gather data somewhere, there are ways to make it look human by making it less efficient. Bots are very efficient and they will go through results very quickly. So you slow down your bot, you add random intervals, you add weird little clicks and sideways to make it look human. Bots are way more efficient than human beings. We have to nerf our bots and agents to make them human. Cool. Those are the main stories from today. I'm going to finish up. Covered quite a bunch of things. Sora is now available on Android. If you're an Android user and you've been waiting for Sora, great. It is out now. It's available in the US, Canada, Japan, Korea, Vietnam, Thailand, I think. We have also looked at Apple, and they're going to be working with Gemini rather than with Anthropic to revamp Siri. We're expecting that in March 2026. We might finally get an actually useful AI agent. It's not going to be with Claude, it's going to be with Gemini. I would have preferred Claude, but that's fine. Speaking of Claude, Code Web are giving out free credits. So if you have a Claude subscription, then you have been given either $250 or $1,000 worth of free credits. Make sure you use them. I will be doing a guide on Saturday about how to get started using Claude Code Web. It's a nice, easy way into vibe coding, but it also gives you an incredibly powerful tool. Claude Code is probably the best model and tool out there at the moment. And then we looked at people.com and how they are licensing a deal with Microsoft because they are getting hammered by AI reducing their traffic. Finally, we looked into Perplexity and Amazon. Amazon is threatening and sending legal threats over to Perplexity saying, hey, you need to stop sending your agents over to our website. So lots going on in the world today. I will be back tomorrow morning around 10 a.m. UK time. Everything that's covered every day is put into the newsletter in written format, and that comes out 8 a.m. every single day. So make sure you subscribe to that. I'll also be giving the links to all of these things so you can follow them up and get additional information, additional context for what's useful for you. And everything goes on to YouTube as well in clipped format, slightly edited in order to make it easier for you to find what you need. Make sure you are subscribed both on YouTube and to the newsletter. I will see you next, guys.